Today we're talking about healing factor, why it's probably bugged, and if you should be using it or not. Let's get to it. First things first, I need you to understand how this skill is supposed to work. So we're going to take a look at the code in the XML. So here's the code for healing factor. You can see there's nothing crazy out of the ordinary here. The main thing we're taking a look at is the passive effect. You can see it says passive effect, healing change over time, operation base add, and then it has levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And those levels correspond with the next thing in line there, which is the value. So level 1 is 0.011, level 2 is 0.022, and so on and so on. So to understand what those values are affecting, we need to take a look at the entity class XML and the code that affects our character. You can see here we are in the effect group, food and water balance. This is what governs our character's food and water spent when we are doing stuff or not doing anything at all. The very first line there that you see states in green, which is a note from the dev, everything that's in green is commented out, that healing damage costs you water. And that makes perfect sense with the line of code that we see it next to. It says passive effect, water loss per health point gained, operation base set, value 0.06. This means we lose 0.06 of a point of water every time we regen a point of health, which by default is about 1 health point per minute. From there, we have our water change over time, which just is our water loss when we are doing nothing. We have our water change over time when we're inside of a vehicle. We have our water loss per point of stamina gained because you burn water and food while you are regenerating stamina. Then as we move on, we have our food change over time, which is our base food loss value, our food change over time when we're in a vehicle, and our food loss per point of stamina gained because you also burn food when you are regenerating stamina. You burn both food and water when regenerating stamina. So that's it. There's nothing else that governs anything else inside our character here inside the XML that would indicate that we should lose anything other than water when we are regenerating hit points. And the same goes for the code that governs healing factor. It only affects our health change over time, which you can see here from the code inside of the entity class XML. This is our health change over time. Our base value is 0.017. So it just increases that value and does nothing else. If we take a look here in game, I currently have no perks, no healing factor, no nothing. If I set myself to God, which pumps my food and water, maxes it out, pumps it to 200, and I take God off, I walk into the spikes, take a little bit of damage, and we jump over here and we watch our food. Now, this is sped up, but this is going to be a full minute's worth of time in game so that we can see what happens as we regen a single hit point. And as you can see, our food is ticking down. Now, our food should only go down about a half a point over the course of a minute. That is our natural food loss over time for just standing still and doing nothing. But you can see that to regen 1 hit point, we actually lost 2 full food, which as we saw from the XML files shouldn't be happening. We should be losing a little bit of extra water, not even a noticeable amount, but instead we're actually losing food. And I know you're thinking, well, that's strange. That doesn't make any sense. That shouldn't be happening. And yeah, you're right. It shouldn't. Now let's max out healing factor, and we're going to take the same amount of damage, 1 hit from the spikes, and we're going to go over to our food and watch how quickly our food ticks down. Because we're healing faster, it's doing the same thing it does when we naturally heal over time, but it's burning our food significantly faster because we are healing significantly faster. And you can see that to recover just 4 hit points, we've burnt 5 food. So it's about 1.06 food per point of health point is what we're spending here, which is absolutely terrible. This is going to have you chugging through food like it's nobody's business, because this is the natural burn for healing hit points and nothing else that we're taking a look at. You burn food for any amount of stamina that you regen, and you are constantly burning food for just being in the game. And you can't really offset the amount of food that you lost for just being in the game. You can, however, offset the amount that you burn for regenerating stamina, but that's a whole other video, and none of that affects this. So there is definitely something incredibly screwy going on here. I'm not sure what. Apparently, the game just does not have to listen to the XML files, and there is some hard code somewhere that is governing all of how this works, and we can't actually see it. And in the game, it does not tell us this anywhere. And because of the code that is inside the XML files, it leads me to believe that this is a bug and this isn't actually working as intended. If it is, FunPimps need to come out and tell us that it is working as intended and actually put the code in the XML files so this can be modded, because as it stands right now, theoretically, because it's not in the XML files, you can't really mod it because the code to mod it isn't there. So what do we do if we want good healing, and how can we offset this so that we aren't burning as much food when we are healing even naturally? First off, let's talk about how many points you have to just invest to get healing factor maxed out. It's 21 points total, which is a lot of investment, especially if you're not going into the fortitude tree to begin with. Even if you are going into the fortitude tree, you can spend a total of 2 extra points for a much better alternative, and that alternative is physician at level 2. The total point investment to reach level 2 is 7 points. You would spend 5 just to max out physician, not including the points you would have to spend in the base skill fortitude. You would spend 5 total points into intellect to get to smart, and then you spend 2 extra points into physician to get to level 2 doctor. This gives you 50% more healing over time from bandages, which takes bandage healing from 30 hit points to 45. It also gives you 200% increased experience every time you use a bandage, and it allows you to cure sprains instantly with splints or casts. Healing with a bandage does not cost you any additional food, water, anything like that. It bypasses all of that, goes straight to your health, and just heals you. But Firespark, doesn't this mean I'll be using a lot of bandages every time I want to heal? Yes, it does. But luckily, you're already into the intellect tree, which allows you to put points into better barter. If you wish, you can go clear up to level 3, which is the initial point investment that we already have into intellect, which will allow you to buy cheaper bandages from the traders. And bandages are farmable and renewable, so if you wanted to, you could spend 4 points into the fortitude tree. You'd need to put 2 points into fortitude and then 2 more into living off the land, which will help you do all of the farming that you need to do in order to farm all the stuff you need to farm to have an infinite supply of bandages. Just farm cotton and aloe. That's it. That's all you need, those 2 things. And doing that is still a cheaper point investment than maxing out healing factor. It will only cost you 11 total points, as opposed to the 21 it would take you to fully max out healing factor. And now you're thinking, but if I'm going to put points into living off the land, shouldn't I just farm food and eat more food? Yeah, you could totally do this, but remember, you're going to heal slower over time than you would using a bandage. And let's take a look at the resources that it would take you to do this if this is how you wanted to go about healing. So if we take a hit from the spikes, we lose 33 HP. To heal that 33 HP, we need to spend 35 food. We could heal this damage with a single bandage because we would heal for 45, which would actually overheal us for the amount of damage that we took if we were spec'd into physician level 2. That's going to cost us 1 aloe cream and 1 bandage to create the bandage that we would need in order to heal us. An aloe cream cost 4 aloe, and a bandage will cost us 10 cloth for a total of 14 resources. Now, if we switch over to healing with food, we would need 3 baked potatoes, as baked potatoes give us 10 food each and heal us for 5. That 5 that we get for healing offsets the additional potatoes that we would need to eat in order to equal 35. Or if we only wanted to eat 1 item, but we wanted something else that was infinitely renewable, we could use something like vegetable stew, which would cost us 2 potatoes, 2 ears of corn, and 2 mushrooms, as well as a water. By default, that's without anything or any perks or skills to reduce that cost. That would get us most of the way there at 31 points of food recovered. Theoretically, if you ate this as soon as you took the damage or before you were completely healed, the 15 points of health that you regen from this should offset the 4 additional food points that we would have lost. But also keep in mind that's not including all of the food points that we would have lost for stamina that we would have spent doing whatever we were doing that caused us to take damage in the first place, probably fighting zombies. We also won't be getting any of the other bonuses that we get from Physician either, which Physician is a fantastic skill to have in the first place, if nothing else just for the ability to instantly heal sprains. Sprains are terrible. Bandages also give us faster healing over time, which can save us in a fight because we can heal in the middle of a fight, be taking damage and healing through that damage with a bandage. So overall, I think Physician is a much better option to go for here, but I'll leave the final decision up to you and how you want to play the game. But there's definitely something very wonky going on with healing and food loss, because as we saw, we should be losing water and not food. And if we were losing water, it wouldn't be nearly as a big of a deal, especially if we were only losing the amount that it states in the XML file, because that would be really easy to recover, and we can passively generate water very easily with a bunch of dew collectors, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal at all. And if that was the case and we were just losing water over time, then healing factor would definitely be something that you want to pick up. But depending on how you are playing, food can be a much rarer resource, and chugging through it could be detrimental to your survival. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you all found this video helpful and informational. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more of my 7 Days to Die content, you can find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.